For 22 editions spanning nearly a century, the FIFA World Cup has operated as a geographically restricted system. Since 1930, 80 national teams have qualified for the tournament, but only 8 have ever won it: Brazil, Germany, Italy, Argentina, France, Uruguay, England, and Spain. This list reveals a strict geographic concentration. Every champion in the history of the sport hails from just 2 continents, Europe and South America. The exclusion is even more pronounced at the final stage. Across 96 years of competition, only 13 nations have even managed to reach a championship match. For the last 28 years, this hierarchy was supported by a stable structure: 32 teams playing 64 matches over a 4-week period. The World Cup functioned as a geographic duopoly, maintained by these structural constants and entrenched tactical traditions that favored the established powers. In 2026, the structural constants that defined the modern era of the tournament will break. The format expands to 48 teams, playing 104 matches, spread across 16 host cities in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. This expansion represents roughly 45% of the global population and targets a record $9 billion in revenue. The increased match volume and geographic spread alter the mechanical requirements of the tournament. 2 converging forces drive this change: a new mathematical qualification matrix and the extreme thermodynamics of the North American summer. Together, these variables challenge the historical hegemony of European and South American dominance. To see how the hierarchy destabilizes, we must look at the mechanics of the expanded field. This proposal of 16 groups of 3 was rejected because playing only 2 matches created a high risk of collusion. The final structure utilizes 12 groups of 4, where every team plays 3 matches, maintaining the traditional round-robin format. This configuration increases the match inventory to 104, a 63% rise. For the teams involved, the path to the trophy now requires surviving an 8-match gauntlet. Adding a new knockout round to the schedule places extreme pressure on squad depth, requiring coaches to use advanced performance analytics to manage the physiological load. Success in 2026 relies on elite logistical management over a 5-week cycle, effectively turning the tournament into a marathon rather than the traditional high-intensity sprint. The new round of 32 knockout stage forces a total recalculation of group stage tactics. In this 12-group format, the top 2 teams in each group automatically advance. Filling the remaining slots requires an algorithm to evaluate the 12 third-place finishers, advancing only 8. Teams are separated by points, goal difference, and goals scored. If still level, qualification is decided by fair play points, calculated by yellow and red cards. Because third place can lead to qualification, the group stage becomes an exercise in margin optimization. In the final minutes of a level match, the mathematical risk of conceding a goal outweighs the reward of scoring. A 0-0 draw becomes a strategic asset for protecting goal difference. This gives new weight to disciplinary records. In a tight group, a single unnecessary yellow card could result in immediate elimination. Coaches will rely on FIFA's enhanced football intelligence metrics to navigate these margins. Statistics like line breaks and forced turnovers are used to disrupt opponents while minimizing defensive exposure. This third-place advancement path makes the early tournament mathematically rigid, rewarding defensive calculation over aggressive play. But all of these precise tactical calculations must be executed while the players on the pitch endure the crushing weight of performance-impairing heat. Europe's historical dominance is rooted partly in the continent's temperate climate. Temperate zones allow for high-intensity training, peak athletic output during 90 minutes, and rapid physical recovery between games. That baseline advantage collides with the environmental reality of the North American summer. Data from Climate Central indicates that 97 of the 104 scheduled matches will likely be played in temperatures above 28 degrees Celsius. At 28 degrees, the physiological performance of elite soccer players begins to objectively degrade. In these conditions, players cover less total distance and experience a drop in the frequency of high-speed sprints and require significantly longer windows for physical recovery. Modern European tactics, specifically high pressing and rapid transitions, are entirely dependent on those specific physiological metrics. Subjecting these systems to extreme heat effectively neutralizes the physical advantages of the European elite. The environment limits their ability to maintain the relentless pressure that defines their game. By combining the mathematical rigidity of the 4018 field with the environmental hostility of the host nations, we arrive at a new model for the 2026 tournament. This diagram represents the convergence. Teams must execute precise tactical margin optimization while managing extreme physical fatigue. Surviving the group stage now requires a defensive, disciplined strategy where a single booking can derail a campaign. Teams must then maintain this precision through an 8-match gauntlet in conditions that naturally impair athletic output. While organizers are using shallow pitch profiles and specialized ventilation in domed stadiums to mitigate these stressors, the engineering cannot fully offset the environmental load. The combined physical and mathematical stress creates the highest variance environment in the history of the competition. Historical predictability is the core asset of established powers. The old hierarchy relies on controlled conditions and optimal recovery windows. When those recovery windows are shortened and the conditions are degraded, the advantages of the elite are stripped away. Based on these thermal and mathematical stressors, the 2026 World Cup presents the highest probability we have ever seen for a new nation to survive the variance and break the global football hierarchy.